I've set record on. I can see the numbers counting down. It's
so professional.
Literally.
That's the new intro for this video, by the way. Hello and welcome to some more bio wine chat and thankfully some tasting. Talking about organic wines, bio wines here with me, Peter. I am here. I have wine. But more importantly, I have a lovely man who is just getting prepared. I don't know what he was doing at the bottom of his camera now, but he's gonna introduce himself. His name is
You have a lovely man.
He is a lovely man. He is a wine presenter, and he's going to teach me all about this wine. Say hello, Tom.
Hi, how you doing? It's nice to be doing it with you. To be honest, it's lovely.
So, what are we tasting today, Tom?
So, we're tasting today the very terribly delicious Querciabella. Are we ready? Here we go. Querciabella. It's 2016. It's a very delicious Chianti Classico from Tuscany in Italy. They started in the 70s, and they were one of the very first people in Italy to do organic wine in Italy. And it ain't easy. And they also had this bizarre dream, not just to use Sangiovese, but to use classic Bordeaux varietals like Cabernet Sauvignon and Merlot in the Tuscan region of Italy. And so they were kind of people that were within the whole Super Tuscan movement. But what we're talking about very specifically is their Chianti Classico. So we're talking about Sangiovese as a great variety, and then subsequent children of the founders. So Sebastiano, who is the guy who is there now, turned it to organic viticulture, and he was the man who really kind of got behind all of that. And they're real pioneers of it. They then went a little bit further in the noughties and went biodynamic. But they're not biodynamic, as most people are biodynamic. They are vegan biodynamic. They don't like animal stuff.
You're right. They were pioneers. And why were they pioneers? They were doing organic wine before the EU had certified organic wine. So they were way ahead of the curve. Like their heart, I think the core of what they do is Chianti Classico. That is kind of where their home is. That is where their quality comes from, and well, it's where their name comes from. You know, why are they called what they're called?
Why are they called what they're called? It's like
their farm, their vineyards are surrounded by oak trees. There's a whole oak forest, which separates them from their other vineyards, the other producers. And Quercia is the Italian word for oak, and Bella is beautiful. So it's the beautiful oaks. Right. Talk to me about this. You're saying they went to biodynamic. What is just quickly touch on what is biodynamic?
Biodynamics is like organics plus, basically. So the idea is with organics, you don't use man-made fertilizers or any kind of synthetic additives to your vineyard. You work with nature. Biodynamics goes one step further, and the idea is it's a complete cycle. And this can be applied to any agriculture, but in wine, that would involve you having some cows or having something that provides you with some manure, which you would then fertilize your vineyards with, which you then wouldn't need to add any inputs to that vineyard to then produce your wine from. You then sell that wine, and it kind of goes round as this complete sort of cycle. So the idea with biodynamics is you never take out more than you put in. It also involves the spiritual side to it, which actually these guys completely ignore. They choose to, that's not their bag. But true biodynamics, invented by Rudolf Steiner, the same bloke that did the schools and stuff like that in the 20s. Rudolf Steiner came up with this idea that this is a system that is about balancing the spiritual and the environmental, ecological kind of worlds. And that's what biodynamics is about. So there is this whole spiritual side to it. It's not a religion. It's not some quasi-cult sort of thing going on.
It's not. He's seen a little bit as the Scientology of wine, though, isn't it? It's a little bit like that.
I think so. I think just by its nature, it's an easy target for that.
Yeah.
But it isn't really. You can kind of pick and choose the bits you want, but you have to do most of it for it to work, broadly. The idea is it's just working with the natural cycles. There's basically 9 allowed preparations, and that's one of the key things. Is biodynamics is not like organics where you can use man-made, naturally occurring, like shed loads of copper, spray that in your vineyard. You can't do that with biodynamics. You make your own or buy in preparations that have been done in a special way.
I think it's a key point that if it works, just because you don't understand it and it's different to you and it's not the norm, doesn't mean it's wrong, doesn't mean it's It's a load of hocus pocus stuff. And I appreciate the way you said these guys aren't fully into the spiritual thing, but they do kind of green manure in the vineyards. They do cover crops. They're actually the Sebastiano, I think you said it was. He's very much a nature lover as well as an animal lover, and that's why they went vegan, because they didn't want any kind of. They wanted to be completely plant-based in the winery as well as completely natural in the vineyard, because often people do two different things in the vineyard to the winery, and I don't know if that necessarily comes across in the wine. You can't tell that that's happening, but I can tell there is serious quality.
Yeah, they are really high quality. Should we just say that really quickly? Like we're drinking the sort of the opening price point wine for these guys, really, and like it's mega. Like it's ultra beautiful. They're, like, we'll talk about the taste note in a second, I suppose, but like these are quite ethereal, quite sort of, they're special wines. Like, these are, they dominate whatever you're eating with it. Like, this will be the thing that you're thinking about when you've got various things coming at your palate. And like, for whatever reason, whether it is because they do their biodynamic thing, or whether it's just because they have fantastic vineyards and they know how to make lovely wine, like these are really, really, really delicious wines.
This is a Chianti Classico, right? This Chianti Classico, you said it's Sangiovese. So we know Sangiovese. To me, as a wine person who's educated in the wine world, and when I teach people and express Sangiovese, I always assume that it's quite a heavily oaked wine that has the sweet and sour cherry, right? That's how I know what a Chianti is. Sangiovese is, it smells of sweet cherry and it tastes of slightly sour cherry.
Every kind of cherry you can imagine, right? Like there's a bit of black cherry, there's a bit of red cherry, there's a bit of like whatever those little cherries that you put on top of cupcakes are. There's a bit of that cherry.
It has a lot less oak than you would normally get. It really minimal usage of oak. So actually you're letting the expression of the elegance come through of the fruits, and the finesse of this wine is coming through.
Like this wine is silky smooth. This wine is really, I hate the word sexy to describe wines, because I think it comes from a completely different era, and like of like bootcut jeans and like, Jeremy Clarkson and stuff. But this is, if you were going to use that descriptor, this is a sexy wine. And that texture, because sexy is a texture, famously Prince said it, that comes from oak. So you know that this wine has had some oak from its texture, and from doing a little bit of reading about it. This wine is picked by hand. It's then pressed very gently into stainless steel tanks. It's fermented in stainless steel, which retains all of the fruitiness and the zesty brightness of the fruit. You then put it into oak barrels, and this has got 14 months at least in oak barrel. So this has spent over a year sitting in an oak barrel before it's put into a bottle and then released. But the key is, very little of that is brand new oak. The newer a barrel of oak is, the more oaky flavour it gives you. So 95% of the oak in this blend, the wine of the oak that this wine is aged in, is old. This is, let's just be really clear, this is a dry wine. This is properly dry. And the oak is, well, I've said it's not toasty. The oak is there because it's got a grippiness to it. There is tannin here. Tannin, that lovely thing that grips your cheeks and makes it very hard to talk when you're trying to explain a wine and you've just drunk an entire glass of it.
Don't get scared by the way Tom is using the word tannin. It is slightly drying, but it is pretty easy to drink. It's not like I'm chewing on a piece. I'm not like bark and stuff like that. It is actually smooth, and it was all that oak aging that has softened it and smoothened it and hopefully reduced that tannic structure. I mentioned this before. I am, even though as always I'm taking a long time with my drinking / tasting / talking about wine, I'm a triple slash. We're doing this. I am going home soon, thankfully, and I'm going to go past my butcher's. This is a French butcher's, so we got a lot of choice in there. Should I be going to the butcher? Should I be going to the boulangerie? Should I be going to the fishmongers? Where should I be heading to cook with my lovely Chianti Classico tonight? Where should I be going? Sack
off the boulangerie, get straight into the butcher's. You need red meat. You've got to have red meat. Steak would be lovely with this. I would say if you're going to go steak or something, don't go like a massive garlic butter or something on top of it. Like, I think that'll overpower it. I think too much garlic will cause this trouble. I think you want either just really lovely fresh steak and some chips or whatever. that would be lovely. Or, I mean, this is a region that is, I mean, you know, it's built for big, bold, bright tomato sauces. Get yourself the best ever pasta and like meaty ragu on top of it. That would be awesome. That would be so, so lovely.
Thank you, Tom. Much appreciate it, Tom. Cheers. Thank you so much for giving me your input on this wine and all the other wines that we've tasted in this BO range. And hopefully we can do some more and we can delve into the world of biodynamics and all of the other things and food and wine matching, which I know you're passionate about. So guys, if you want to see more of this, please comment below. Let me know what you're drinking, what you would actually have this wine. I'm going veal. Tom's going veal. What would you go down? What kind of flavors would you go with? And subscribe, get notified about all of our videos, all of the tastings that we do here. So yeah, stay tuned for more wine talk, more wine tasting, and more wine drinking.